Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 27 of the only YouTube show where the host still wishes that Blockbuster was a thing and is crazy enough to share what's on my mind with you each and every week, not once, but twice a week. Welcome back to the Have I Told You About This show. I am your host, Brad Kumjanik. And this week, because of a brand new awesome game that came out, my mind has been taking me back to the glory days of the blue and yellow Blockbuster. The wonderful video store that, well, as a youngster, had a little bit of heaven. But this time, we're not going to be talking about going to one. We're going to be talking about actually running one yourself in a little game called Retro Rewind. And this week, that's what I'm going to be telling you about. So here we go. You know, friends, there was just something kind of magical about having your parents take you to a Blockbuster. And you would run into the video game section first to see what was new because you didn't really know. You didn't know what was going to be coming there. Because something was new in the stores didn't mean it would be new in Blockbuster right away. But then after you picked up a couple of new games, or at least if you were me, you'd pick up a couple of new games. Thank you, Mom and Dad. The next thing I would do is run over to the horror section, right? The Friday the 13th and the Return of the Living Dead movies and all the fun stuff that was there that my parents probably shouldn't have let me watch, but I did anyway. And then I would run over to the newest section and see what was new and pass up 90% of what was there because I wasn't into romantic comedies or much comedy at that point. There were a lot of really good comedians during my youth. Eddie Murphy, there were so many of them. Sam Kinison was another one. Andrew Dice Clay, and if they would have new specials, you would pick them up. But comedy movies were kind of good ones, at least for me, were few and far between. But then, after you'd hit the new releases, you were off, and you were back home, and you were ready to go. But see, alas, those days are gone, and we no longer have any need for such a place to exist, even given the fact that every movie and game that you want now is just a click away on our PCs and our consoles and laptops. But make no mistake, I still think we were better off when Blockbuster existed. There was something to be said for having no clue when new games or movies were going to just pop into your life. It created a sense of wonder and excitement that just isn't there when you open up Netflix or Steam for your PC games. But this week, something magical did happen. Steam let me know there was a new game that was going to be releasing, and it was called Retro Rewind. And it's all about running your very own video rental store of your own. Not a Blockbuster, mind you, because that's trademarked. And there still is a Blockbuster somewhere that's open, believe it or not. But this time, you get to design your video store and run it the way you want. At first, I thought, oh, it's just another game like Power Washer, right? Where you take on menial tasks and you have some mindless fun doing repetitive things that you kind of have fun doing for, you know, you might have fun in something like that for a week or two. I can remember I played House Flipper for a while and I would have to go in and clean up. Evidently, everyone in that world was just an absolute pig, right? They just threw everything in their house and tore up the walls and everything else. So I had to fix up the house and everything. And it would seem to take me hours and hours and hours to do that. And then I would sell it for some menial price, barely get enough money, and then have to go on and do it again. Now, Power Washer for me, I think I've already mentioned in one of my other videos, is kind of like this Zen thing where I can just kind of mindlessly turn my brain off after a long day of work and do that and feel like I've accomplished a little bit of something. But I just wasn't sure if I was going to feel that same thing running a Blockbuster like store. but boy, was I wrong. This game is truly magical in a way that not only presents itself and the constant sense of wonder that it provides you, but the developers of this game have put so much thought into the game. And it's the little details that you might easily miss if you rush to min max this system that's in the game. The writing here is also something to behold. And even the way the customers interact with you is something truly special. Now, I've already let you know I'm a psychologist by trade. That's what I do. And the study of people's fascinating to me. And I could literally just talk to my customers in this game and listen to what they say and how they what they're doing, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'll detail that for you a little bit more. And I have a whole new appreciation for the final days of Blockbuster because I can remember going in and where there used to be 4 or 5 people working, there was 1, maybe 2, and they had to run the entire thing by themselves. And the vast majority of people in the world are lazy and they didn't rewind those daggone VHS tapes. And in this game, they do the same thing to you. And I can't stand it. Okay, enough preamble. Let's dive into what makes Retro Rewind a game my mind couldn't take me off of this week. I keep going back to between my other games, and a game I think you should look into yourself. So let me show you just a little bit of gameplay. I'm just going to put it on loop for you. Okay. Retro Rewind starts innocently enough. You're given a new empty rental store to run, and you even get to name it. After naming it, you get introduced to a couple of the game's main systems. The first is the catalog for buying things like shelves that you have to put the movies on. And there's not just buy shelf, there's buy a new release shelf, or buy a shelf that's 5 shelves deep, or 4 shelves but wider. I mean, you can pick from many different kinds of shelves that you can put out. And that's all you get to begin with. You can pick a few of those things like that. And all the shelves right now are just to put your movies on. And you can also buy a few decorations, like some movie posters for your walls, light things like that. Now, you also get introduced to your computer in the back office. And that's where you get to buy your first selection of drama movies to get the store started. Don't know why they picked drama, but they did. They picked drama. So you get to buy, you get a selection of like what they call like 10 miscellaneous drama movies, and those are free, and that gets you started because you have very little money to start the game, right? So after buying a couple of shelves, 2 was really all I could afford and still be able to buy any movies. So I bought the shelves, and so after you buy things, you go to your back room and the boxes appear in your back room. So you open up the box, you drag the shelf out to where you want it to be, and you can rotate it around. You can put it on any wall. You can just slap it in the middle of the floor if you wanted to, but of course that's not good feng shui, if you will. So put my shelves up, put them closer to the door because I wanted people to get what they wanted quickly. And I opened up the PC and looked over the selection of the movies that they had. And again, they start you with drama movies. And I mentioned you can get a random selection of them, or what you can do is buy one-off movies that you look at yourself. So, in other words, there'll be like maybe 15 different movies that you can look at, and they're all different prices. Some are like $16.74, and then you look at the bottom of them, and it says drama, and it might say old. And then it might say bad critic or good critic. And there's all kinds of different combinations of that you can get. And the good critic movies cost more than the bad ones. But particularly if you get an old bad one, you can pick up that movie for like $5. They're dirt cheap, right? So I picked up a nice selection of movies, and I got the immediately the 10 free ones, right? Put those up on my shelf. So Well, as I mentioned, shelves arrived in the back room, put them up in the store. My movies arrived. Once you buy the movies, there's this other place where the movies just magically appear. And you literally have to pick them up one by one, and you can only hold 10 in your hands at one time, 5 in each hand. Okay. So I picked them up individually, took them into my store, and placed them on the shelves. And once you place a movie on the shelves, the shelf will name itself after the genre of the movie. Again, in this case, it said drama because all the movies were drama. But later on, when space gets tricky, and let's say you've got horror movies and you've got drama, you could put a third shelf in there and put some horror and some drama, and then it'll say mixed at the top so that the customers will know, oh, I'm going to have to look through these to find, and so it takes them longer to shop in your store. You have to think about those things when you're running the store because you want people to get what they want, get checked out, and get out. So the next person can go, you can make the most money. Also, next up is a calendar in the back room. And here is where a lot of different things get introduced into the game, right? This calendar gives you information about what your month looks like ahead. Let me give you an example. You find out that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, there's a mysterious guy that shows up in the back alley behind your shop. Only on Tuesdays, only on Thursdays, and he starts at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Or I'm sorry, 10 p.m. at night, right? And he will have a selection of special movies that you can only get from him. They'll never be in the computer. Yeah, and friends, we're talking about adult films mostly. Like he'll have a selection of maybe six items. Probably 3 to 4 of them are going to be adult films, and then he'll have some really special and good other genres like horror, drama, or action, or whatever. And all of his movies tend to be $15 and up. So you can just pick up all those if you've got enough money. You run back to your store, you put them up on the shelves. So that's like one of the things that you'll notice. And he even leaves you a note underneath the door once you start opening the store. Hey, I'm in the back alley. I'll be here, here, and here. So you always must remember to go visit him on Tuesdays and Thursdays right after you close up the shop. And you can get a special selection of movies you can't get anywhere else. Now, also, there are new release days, and those just are on the calendar, and they happen on all kinds of different days. New release days tells you, oh, guess what? I got to go to my computer, and I want to definitely make sure I'm picking up the new release movies, whatever that they are. So on those days, you go to the computer, and there's a new tab there. You click on new, and it'll show you here's the name of the movie, and you get a deal. For $100, you can get 5 movies, 5 copies of that movie, and then they'll give you a cardboard big standee that you can put in your store to advertise that particular movie. So, again, go to the computer, click on new, you get a shot to buy the newest releases. Love the way that happens. Love the fact that I can take that standee and I can put it anywhere in my shop. So I can put it by the new releases, or I can put it in the back of the store, because as people start to move to the back and they've already passed the new releases, it's a reminder that, hey, there's a new release up front just in case you missed it. Now, there are tons of things that show up on this calendar, so be sure when you're playing it to check that calendar every day before you start your day, because you never know what you're going to find. I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the cool things that have happened in my game so far later. Now, you also have a phone that's there, and that phone will ring at the most busiest, unopportune times that you have, but you always want to take the time to go to answer it. Sometimes it's someone who says, hey, I'm moving, and I don't want to lug all these movies around anymore. Would you like these movies? And you can answer yes or no. Of course, yes. And then they'll just magically show up in your back room, and you can take a look at them, see if you want to put them up on your shelf or not. It's a great way to get free movies, right? They also just may be a load of junk too, right? I've gotten sometimes a whole mess of movies that were old and bad critics, so I just had to end up initially just leaving them in my back room, but later on you get a way that you can get rid of them. I also had a person just call me and ask for George and tell me if I didn't put George on the phone immediately, they were going to come and kill me. So I just hung up on them. Again, this writing is crazy. It's crazy. It's funny that I have to go back there and say, put George on the line right now. Other people will call and they'll say crazy things. But then some people call and say, hey, I want to reserve blah, blah, blah movie. Okay. When that happens, you can say yes, because so far I haven't had anybody call and ask for a movie I don't have. Right. And also, after I say yes and I hang up, there will be a little triangle on the movie with an exclamation point. So I can run over and grab it, and then I have a reserved rack behind the counter. I can take it and put it in the reserved, and that person will come in that day and pick up the movie. So again, answer your phone. Now, next up, you have a rack of flyers that are there that advertise your store. So each morning, right after you hit your open sign, you want to take those flyers and run outside, and anyone that has an asterisk over their head isn't already a customer of yours, and you can give them those flyers. So it's a way for free advertising, and it will get you more customers. You definitely want to do that. Realistically enough, you'll also see people with tapes in their hand. They'll have VHS tapes, and they're going to go to the part of your return. They're going to open up the little thing and put the tape in. You can watch them do that. So you're going to have an area right over to the left of the counter for tape returns, and the tapes will just start lining up there, and it'll get so full that as you take one out, just another one will appear. So what does that tell you? Not only am I going to have to be buying movies and placing them and putting them out there, but as people come and rent them, I'm going to have to be ringing them up, but I'm also going to be going over to the return desk and processing any return movies, right? So let's just, once you open up for the day, you click on your PC that's on the counter, and that's kind of your point of sale. It allows you to scan in things, right? And you just kind of stand there and you wait for customers to bring up the movies that they want to rent, and they'll just throw them on the counter. Here's one, here's two, here's three, whatever. So then you just click on the movie and it scans it and puts it in a bag. So I scan one, and then maybe two, and then maybe three. When I'm done scanning all their stuff, they just put their hand out with money in it. I click on that, and then I look over at my cash register, right? When you look at your cash register, it'll tell you this person gave you $20 and you need to give them $7.30 back. No credit cards in this game, folks. It's like very, very early times for these video rental stores like your mom and pop shop. So there's not a credit card machine. You've got to give change, and you want to make sure you're giving correct change, because if you don't, you're screwing yourself out of money, right? So as you while the day away ringing up people, and you begin to take a gander over at that return desk, and you notice that it's absolutely full from people returning movies during the day. So from time to time, when you get a break, you've got to run over there, and what you do is you click on the PC that's over there, which fires up that station. And I click on one of the movies. Let's say it's one of the drama movies. Let's say it was a drama new release. So I click on it, and it scans it in. And it'll either say, done, that's all good, it's returned, it was on time. And then I can click on the movie, and then I can go take it back over to the shelf where it belongs, click on a space, and put it in there. Others, when you click them across, will say, oh, reserved. Someone went into our system and reserved that movie. So now I can just turn around and take that and put it on the reserved shelf, which is cool, and that's great. But unfortunately, what'll happen is sometimes you'll click on it and it goes through and it says you need to rewind it. And that happens far too often. Daggone these lazy people. So then I have to take the movie, click it, put it into my rewind machine. Then I have to click on the rewind machine and pull down to close it. And then you hear, and it like rewinds it, opens back up, click the movie, take it back. It takes so much time to deal with a rewind. Then I have to take it and put it back up on the shelf. Still, others will come in and the tape will be hanging out. That'll be broken. And you just have to throw that tape away. And then you have to remember, okay, that was a sci-fi movie and it was broken, so I need to buy another sci-fi movie to replace that on my shelf, right? So there's things that you have to remember as your day is going through. And of course, others are going to come in just marked late, and that's fine. You just take it, you put it back, and the computer system remembers that person returned it late. So when they come in the next time and you start scanning stuff for them, they're going to say you owe a late fee. Then it'll be up to you to decide, do I want to actually charge them or not? Sometimes the people will give you these long drawn out stories. Like one guy says, oh my gosh, my car blew up, I lost my job and everything else, and he just rented like 5 movies. So you know he's lying to you. Right? He's got plenty of money and no problem and all the time in the world to watch movies. So you charge him that late fee. And he'll just go, okay, you caught me, and he'll give you the money. Other times people will say things like, no, I really don't have any, I can only rent this one movie. I wanted to rent many, many more, but I can't. And right now I can't afford, this late fee. And you just say, no, I'll waive it this time. And then watch, because when that person comes back again, they'll rent a bunch of stuff from you because you were nice to them, right? So you get all these different choices in this tiny little game. And this is the daily grind that Retro Rewind presents you with for each of its in-game days. And to be honest, I can't get enough. I have found ways to ring people up, run over, work on a few returns, help out some more customers, and at least it doesn't feel like the same thing every day, like, say, Power Washer does. I'm always just cleaning dirt. No, sometimes I'm ringing, sometimes I'm returning, sometimes I've got a Slurpee machine behind me, and sometimes people will order Slurpees and you have to watch. They'll ask for different flavors, or sometimes they don't want rainbow, they want all of the flavors, and you've got to then pull down a cup and put it up there and click on all the flavors and then put the slushy in. So you're constantly doing things. And also some customers will come in and they'll ask you for like specific requests. They'll say, I've been feeling sad lately and I'm looking for a good rated movie. So I can go to any of my genres and just look for ones that are like good rated, pick it off the shelf and hand it to them and say, here you go. But you don't want to hand them something wrong, and you can. You want to make sure that you are handing them the right thing, because if not, later on, they'll even call you and say, hey, this isn't what I asked you for. I'd like a refund, and then you have to go in and do refunds, and that's the whole. So don't do that to yourself. Watch what they say and go get them what they want. But as the days pass, right, and you make more money, you buy more shelves, you purchase new movies, you get a popcorn machine, you get snacks. You can put in shelving to put snacks up on the shelves, and there's candy bars and chips and all kinds of stuff that and people will buy those as they rent movies as well. And also, as you begin to get more and more and more into your first month, you'll eventually be able to buy a rack that you can put out onto the floor. And you can take your older movies that aren't renting anymore and you can sell them as used, and people will buy those as well, right? But friends, I'm telling you, this game, it just keeps throwing fun, fresh, awesome, funny things at you. Let me give you an example. On my calendar, I had a Friday the 13th. And it told me on the calendar, it said this would be a great day to give discounts on horror films, right? So I did in the computer. And when every morning you start outside of your shop and then you walk into your shop, and I looked around and everything was almost like it was Halloween. There were pumpkins everywhere. There's a bowling alley across the street from you. It was all dressed up like for Halloween with pumpkins and pumpkin bunting, orange and black bunting and things like that and everything. So I thought, oh, well, this is kind of cool. This must be like the game's quote unquote Halloween, right? It's kind of funny. So I'm going about my day, and by this time I was able to hire an employee. And I told the employee, you work the return, and then I will work bringing up people, which is a huge help. But employees come with their own problems. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But anyway, so it's Friday the 13th, and I got my guy over here, and he's doing returns, right? And all of a sudden, he starts screaming and and he like runs away, and I look over there at the thing, nothing. There's nothing there. I don't know what's going on. So I walk over there to the station, and all of a sudden, boom, this character like looks right through the window, and it was Jason Voorhees. He had the hockey mask, right? He showed up and he kept tapping the window with his axe. So that was scaring my employee. I have to literally go to the back room, and he had locked himself in the bathroom. I had to knock on the door and say it's okay. It was just a guy dressed up like, Jason Voorhees, and and the shoppers were coming in like the women had witch hats on, and the men had ghost faces. It was just a lot of fun. It's little details like that today's games, well, outside of Crimson Desert. If you haven't watched my Crimson Desert video, please watch that. That's a game that so many people are skipping because of what they're hearing. But that game it's just amazeballs. It's absolutely worth every penny that you put into that game and every minute. But this game too has the same kind of level of detail and fun. You can also, like I said, you can buy decorations for your shop, and that's really cool. You can have like flying saucers. You can hang those up over your sci-fi sections or action movie posters, and you put those up over your action sections. But like I mentioned, you do get to hire employees, and they can either handle the returns, or you can have them bringing stuff up, or you choose what they do. And even advertising and buying the movies and buying the snacks and stuff for you. So you can do a lot of different things with your employees. But you want to make sure on the table in the back you get applications from people. And there's tons and tons of different people that apply. And some are like fast at returns but slow at ringing up, and some are slow at ringing up and fast at returns. Some are bad at everything. But that's all you get at that time. They're all just bad at everything, so you just pick one. And your employees will fall asleep on the job. You have to go wake them up. They'll just some show that they don't have great attention to detail, so they'll just take movies and put them anywhere. They don't care where they go. Like even when there's plenty of space in your new releases, they'll take a new release and put it over in horror or something like that. So you constantly are having to watch your employees. Right? It's not just as easy as, oh, now I don't have to deal with that particular station anymore, right? Also, I've had them like go over and grab snacks and start eating them without paying for them. And so again, watch your employees. So all in all, I never once felt that working at a Blockbuster would have ever been fun at all. But there's just such an attractive game loop going on here, and it just keeps building as your store gets bigger, and well, I'm sure video games will come into this one day, and then you'll be renting out video games and stuff too. I mean, this game, I don't see an end to it anytime soon. I'm only on just start finishing up my first month as we speak, and all the things I've told you about have already happened. This game just keeps bringing me back more. I want to maximize my profits. I want to see what new things the game's going to throw at me. Now, the game's not going to win any awards for graphics, as you see. I mean, some of the things are neat, and they look neat. But the people themselves, as you can see, like that guy, they're just basic. They're just very basic looking people. But like I said, they'll come in dressed up, and they'll talk to you a lot. I mean, there's no voices or anything, but you get a lot of text on the screen. It's not ugly by any stretch of the imagination. And the sheer differences in the shapes of the people and the people who visit the shop, they rarely seem to repeat. I've seen goth kids renting horror movies. I've seen men in trench coats going over to the adult section. You'll be seeing new things in this game for a long, long time. The movie names also, and the covers to the movies, will make you laugh out loud. There's a ton of parody names, such as The Color Lavender, as a ripoff of Oprah Winfrey's movie, The Color Purple. So, Retro Rewind is exactly the game I never knew I wanted. I would never have talked about wanting a game about running a Blockbuster. But with that said, I also would never have said that Power Washer or Power Washer 2 would see me spend well over 100 hours completing all of their levels and the DLC for both games as well. So there you have it. Retro Rewind is a breath of fresh air compared to all of the gambling Balatro likes that are out there today. Seem to be all the rage. All the roguelike games that are out there. It's not nearly as complex as something like Farm Simulator, but trust me when I tell you that after your very first successful day of operation and you close that door, you turn off the open sign, and you see how well you did, you're going to want to play again. Next day. I know I can do better, right? And I want to buy more movies and I want to get the best ones. So you're sitting there flipping through the you just buy your first few, and then after a while you're getting real picky. You're like, well, I only want the really good rated movies, and I bet if I move the horror shelves closer to the doors, I'll sell way more of those movies than I will, because it seems to me like I put new releases up there and then the new releases are all gone. So whatever I put there. So now what I'm going to try to do is move my new releases to the back of the store, so that if people will if they're buying whatever's right close first, then when they move to the back, you can see what I mean. Before long, the game fades into the background and your imagination takes over. And soon you too will be realizing that running this faux Blockbuster can actually be a ton of fun. Just waiting until 10 p.m. each Tuesday and Thursday to see what the back alley movie vendor offers up is a surprise. And I look forward to it every Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm only just, like I said, into my first month. So Retro Rewind currently has a very positive rating on Steam, by the way, with a total of 2,474 positive ratings and a ton of streamers playing this game on Twitch and YouTube. So this is a game to keep your eye on. A lot of people are playing this and talking about it. Finally. I can only imagine what types of DLC they'll put out for this game over the long haul. Heck, maybe in the future, you can add arcade games to it. Who knows? An old man can dream. So, Retro Rewind is a game that I promise you is $20 well spent. And every moment that you put into it will be a moment that you'll enjoy. The fun never stops. And you may even find yourself having a few of those just one more day nights, like I've had all week long. A game is good when you're thinking about it when you're not playing it. And Retro Rewind fits that bill to a T for me. Again, even with all the other juggernaut games that are out right now, like, for me, Crimson Desert, or Resident Evil Requiem, or Pokemon Pocopia, I keep wanting to go back to Retro Rewind. And I go back to Retro Rewind right after I finish up my play sessions with those games. So that's the game, folks. You've seen a lot of the gameplay here. You've heard me talk about it. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever heard of this game before I told you about it. And if you start playing it, share some of your strategies down in the comments below. How are you laying out your shelves, or what are you buying? What types of shelves are you buying? And which movies are you finding are selling and renting the most? Because I have noticed that you can go back into your computer and look at historical data, and you can literally see which types of movies are doing the best. If you want to dive deep, if you're a kind of a data nerd like I am as well. But let me know down in the comments, what are you thinking about Retro Rewind? And as always, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch the show and for liking and subscribing and telling your friends about it. It certainly helps the show get noticed in the crazy algorithms of YouTube these days. Literally, your likes and subscribes and comments are the only way this little program will ever get seen by anyone. So, thanks for your time. Really appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, and always remember, be kind and rewind wasn't just a slogan. It was a way of life. I'll see you right back here for the next one. And now you can say, I've told you about Retro Rewind. Take care, friends.